Great that you're here listening to this very fascinating talk. I'm discussing this issue with Andreas Bihlmaier, who is co-founder and CEO of Robodev, and they developed a robotic system which is as easy a setup as, well, you playing with Lego, actually. Then we have Patrick Sobalvarro. He's co-founder and CEO of Robotics, and they making these tough industrial robots into pretty sensitive guys. We have Simon Haddadin, co-founder and CEO of FRANKA EMIKA. He's approaching the same issue from the other side. He's developing special robots and maybe the co-workers of you in the future. And last but not least, Saeed Amidi, who is founder and CEO of Plug and Play, so an investor invested in robotic startups like Nightscope, maybe one of the ones you know about this automatic policy controlling parking lots or company grounds. Please come on stage, all of you. Well, come on, give a great applause for them too. Come ahead. Have a seat. Andreas Bihlmaier, Patrick Sobalvarro, Saeed Amidi, Simon Haddadin. Great. So, well, you're gonna fit, or you just sit here. Yeah, I want to start with a slide, actually. You see that one, right? It's a pretty counterintuitive slide for me because it shows the growth rates of productivity from the 1970 onwards in G7 countries, so the richest industrial nations. But you see it decreases, a little bit chaotic, but in turn it decreases, which led Haddadin Turner, who's an economist and Institute of New Economic Thinking, to say robots decrease productivity growth. So pretty amazing statement. He's not the only one into this. Let's remember Elon Musk, when he started upscaling his electromobility business, he went into production hell. I guess a lot of you know that. And he said, well, they over-automated certain tasks. So they deployed too much robots, which didn't work out. The same thing at Toyota. They said last year that they will employ more human workforce in the factories and getting robots out because quality was decreasing. So this one would I like to take as a start for this discussion and ask Andreas Bihlmaier, what is behind this story? Does Haddadin Turner have a point here?
I'm sure he has a point if he's referring to the negative impact of robots on flexibility in industrial manufacturing. So robots are very flexible, they're software controlled, so like your PC or your tablet, it depends on the app you are running what they are doing. But there is one thing that's always an obstacle compared to your smartphone, and that is the real world they have to interact with. And it turned out, since industrial robots were introduced in the 60s of the century, of last century, that there are many obstacles you will face that you don't face when you are in the virtual world. And so one of the main hindrances of robot adoption and making use of their potential to be fast, to be accurate, to be reliable, is dealing with uncertainties in the real world, dealing with part tolerances, dealing with change. So I definitely can see his point here, and that is one of the reasons why many new robotic companies are looking to get not faster systems and larger systems, but getting more flexible and more easier to use systems, because then I think this can definitely be turned back around.
Patrick, how nervous do big robotic manufacturing get when they kind of talk about these graphics? Because their business is not growing, obviously.
I think those businesses are actually growing at around 13% per year in revenue. And if you looked at this graph looking only at manufacturing productivity, it might look a little bit different. But I would echo with what Andreas said. We have three big trends in manufacturing today that require greater flexibility on the part of manufacturers. One of these is faster product cycles, which means that you're setting up your production more often. Another is increased demands for quality. which is actually a wonderful thing for us as consumers, because 20 years ago, people could buy a product and it would break, and they wouldn't know for 6 months that they had bought a product of low quality. Today, everybody knows immediately. So faster demands on productivity mean that you have to change the line more often. And finally, there's mass customization, the number of options, even on a refrigerator. Some have the freezer on the top, on the bottom, ice maker, screen, whatever. All of these things together mean that you need to change your production more and more often, and you cannot amortize the cost of full automation. So if you try to fully automate using robots the way Elon Musk did on the Model 3 line, you will fail. You will never pay for those costs before the model changes or before you have a process step change. So I think that flexibility is key, and of course humans bring that to the table.
Okay, we're starting here with Simon, and then over to you, because, well, that's really pretty directly connected. You're retrofitting ABB, Fanuc, and KUKA robots. So Simon is approaching this same issue from another way. He's building a special robot. So is it enough to retrofit robots, classical robots we had?
Well, if you ask me, obviously it's not, because I'm building my own robots. No, we I can show you a couple of things that we are convinced that are not. It's not possible to retrofit or solve the problems we have by retrofitting, because what you show here is basically that the Western world automated everything they could, but still they couldn't make it to be competitive to low-income countries. So what actually happened is we shifted everything into, or we outsourced it, as we call it in a better word, to other countries where labor is cheaper. So we need to build machines that actually have somehow capabilities that a human has. And what we basically did is we gave robots a sense of touch. And if you want, I can show you guys now, or I can show you later.
But go ahead.
Go ahead.
Show, right.
All right, I brought my phone.
Then hand you over to Saeed.
And let's see if everything works, because somehow my smartphone doesn't work, but my robot works usually. Okay, just
live demos are always tough.
Yeah, but it's the Samsung phone. Oh, sorry, I was. Somehow everything is.
It's a little bit nervous, but.
No, not the robot. It's my.
Well, if you get more sensitive robots, you might get more humane
Maybe
robots.
You just continue here, and I'm hacking my phone, and then everything will be all right.
Saeed, are these guys on the right track? You, as an investor, invested in several robotic startups. Is this the trend you see as well?
You know, I feel as any technology, it will take different organization to produce different robots. And specifically for plug and play, we have invested in Nightscope, which we feel is incredible, guard at night or in the data centers. Or the other one that I really like is Fellow Robots. So in general, I am not smart as these entrepreneurs. I don't have a PhD. I don't even have an engineering degree. But we look for entrepreneurs that are passionate and they would like to build a product that will sort of last for a long time. But I do think as the population is getting older, robotics will be in every home and would interact with live people other than only being in the industrial manufacturing. And that's where we are investing.
So break the boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah, I used my Apple and now it works. Somehow the Samsung broke down, sorry. I hope this is okay if I say stuff like that.
Yeah, well,
So, should we go over? I can show you a little bit something. So what you saw is now the shaking, waving robot. Everybody has seen that. But I think the most important thing that what we gave robots is basically the capability of interacting with you. And waving is this, but people give handshakes like this. And what you will feel is that this robot is not stiff, but you can actually, he's reacting to your handshake. And this is by giving a robot a human capability, like strengthening my muscle, loosening my muscle. And I can even show you what that means in live. So basically, if you try now to pull this, you will feel now he's strengthening his muscles.
Okay.
And just by one click, wait, now, wait. Now.
Okay.
You see? So it's like loosening your arm. And this capability is super important for doing all the manipulation tasks humans do. And this is not possible by retrofitting. And we can even make the robot, because this robot roughly weighs 20 kilograms, but I can make him as easy as on the moon, and that's all by behavior, robotics. And that's the perfect key you need to solve these big challenges we have to turn this curve around and go up.
Growing
again.
up back again.
And if you
Great.
guys want, we can go afterwards, you can try
Thanks
it
a
out.
lot. Does everybody can shake your hand? No,
Everybody can shake the hand. Everybody.
Okay,
over
after
here
that
can
talk,
shake
just go and say hello to Panda. Patrick, is it enough to retrofit old classical robots? I guess you have to say something about it.
First of all, I love that robot. It's beautiful, and the compliance, it's a complex control problem, and it's clearly been solved beautifully. The kinds of customers that we have are durable goods manufacturers. So those are people who make things like automobiles, washing machines, dryers, large, heavy things. And so the part of the market that we concentrate on has very large loads. Some of the robots we control weigh 2 tons. And physics is a very tough thing. There's a different expression that engineers use instead of saying a tough thing. I won't on stage. But physics is very tough, and if you have a 400 kilogram payload moving at 3 meters per second, compliance won't help you. You have to sense the situation before it comes into contact with a person. And so what we do is we make brains and eyes. You can set up 8 of our 3-dimensional sensors around the workspace. They automatically register to each other, so you're looking at a single 3-dimensional volume. We monitor both the visible space and the occluded space, and we have a set of rules that determine what the transitions of those parts of the space are, so that we can always bring the robot to a safe state before a human could reach it. And this is, I'm sure, not necessary when you have a small payload. So we concentrate on, the most popular robot that our system is used with is the FANUC R2000i, which has between a 165 and 210 kilogram payload.
Okay, yeah. So coming, of course, tearing down the cages between robots and having a night scope as a perfect example in wild areas, policing automatically. Andreas, what apparently gives me to the question of what this means for the workforce. I mean, obviously, the danger is that we're completely outdated as humans. What is your thought about that? And
so if you look at the Tesla 3 factory was already mentioned, there's also other new car manufacturing factories being set up all over the world. One example is by Toyota, the pioneer of lean manufacturing, of the Toyota production system that completely revolutionized the way production is organized in the 80s and 90s. If you simply look at the picture from the Tesla factory and from the new Toyota factory, it looks like 2 different worlds. And I would not want to speculate on which world is the future. One is full of robots. Like, I think they have one spot where they have 17 robots within a volume of 10 by 10 meters. So they have them on 3 levels and so on. It's beautiful to look at as a roboticist, but it's very inflexible. It's very expensive to retool. It takes a long, long time to set up, to get running, which leads to the known problems then if you have deadlines to deliver your products. The Toyota line, on the other hand, is based on human labor, but that is enhanced, and not by putting them into bionic suits or anything, just by providing tools to the workforce that helps them achieve their task. So I think getting rid of cages is not so much about that you do not want to pay for the cage. It's just some metal wire. It's cheap. It's that you can have the human workers and the robots, the machinery, work more closely together so that you find a better division of labor between what humans are good at and what robots are good at. So I think compliant technology, force control, safety are all highly relevant technologies for the future of robotics and manufacturing. But what is foremost is finding new ways to use technology. So what our goal always is, and I won't talk about our technology for now, whoever's interested can meet me later on, is enabling people to use technology to be more productive. And I think there are many different technological aspects, safety, compliance, and others, but foremost it is getting them to change over the production fast, to react to market changes, to react to product changes, new product variants, customer-specific products. So it's really about ripping down the barrier between human work and robot or machine work. And we have a lot of work to do.
Okay, great.
Actually, if I can just add to that.
10 seconds.
Absolutely. You know, the key is that humans have ingenuity and they are adaptable and flexible, and programming a robot or building an automated solution takes a very long time, so you need both.
Okay, we kind of agree that this might be the future of robotics. Still, a lot of startups say me that it's really hard to find investment for these kind of adventures or undertakings. Is there, or do investors shy away from kind of hardware startups because, well, it's not scaling that fast? Is that true, in your opinion?
You're absolutely right. You know, we sort of are one of the in PitchBook, we are one of the highest number of investment in robotics. I think we have done less than 20. But it takes a long time. It is hardware, software combination. Then you actually have to produce it and scale it. So this sort of, in a VC world or in an investment world, it's very complex. To put things in perspective, we may do 200 investments a year, and less than 2 is hardware. So I believe I'm, in this case, follower. We do have like a robot called 6byte that makes smoothies. We feel the fast food industry will have human and robots working next to each other. And then we do have also another investment in construction that the robot enhances the human to do heavy tasks. But it's really having that safety to be able to be standing side by side with the robot and having the robot do the heavy lifting, we call it. But we love to do more investments. If anybody does robotics, please contact me.
Great promise. Use it. Simon, you could argue as investor, I would say, well, I'm investing in software, it gives me huge money, a huge exit after 2 years' time, 3 years' time, if I'm lucky, great. Why is it a problem that so many investors shy away from robotics? Because, well, software is obviously making enough money for them.
Well, I think it's just the same problem, just 10, 20 years later. We always have emerging technologies, and people shy away from new stuff. I had the luck to meet the founders of Google and Andy from Bechtolsheim, who actually gave them money, and they spoke before with 100 people, and everybody said, what are you even talking about? And I think it's just a new thing. Every 10 years, 15 years, there's something people not fully understand what we're talking about. And if you're lucky like me, you find people who believe in the journey and go along and have a really far sight. So I think courage is also required by investors because it's called venture capital and not solid capital. Then I can go to
you mean they're not
I can go to a bank
as
or not anymore because they threw away all the money. But I think also, yeah, courage is not only by us, the entrepreneurs, we have it anyways, in Europe, in China, in the US, it doesn't matter. But also the capital should be more, it's risk capital. So you should take it as it is.
Andreas, is there a special duty for investors in Europe to invest in hardware or robotics startup? Because, well, the software race we are obviously lost. No debate about this. Is there a possibility we get ahead with kind of hardware?
Yes, as we are here in Munich, as part of Bavaria, part of Germany, and part of Central Europe, this is the most strong region in the world for machinery, world export records on investment goods, especially production equipment. So there's a really strong ecosystem here for mechanical engineering, for machine building. We should add digitization, we should add software to it and make something great and new. And robotics is definitely one of the pioneering fields in combining a lot of software, complex software, artificial intelligence, and so on and so forth, and very solid, highly needed machineering. And so we have one advantage here, I think, in Germany compared to the Silicon Valley. There's so much manufacturing around. So imagine the Munich region without the automotive industry. The same is true for Stuttgart and for other regions in Germany. So we have a lot of factories around here to test equipment, to test new systems, to find large companies with a lot of money that are looking how they can continue doing their business. And their business is not providing a search engine or providing e-commerce. Their business is producing durable goods. So we should have an advantage here. We need to use it.
Can I maybe just add one real quick? I mean, all the software business models are great, but if you don't have this device, they are worthless. So people should be, also understand that these robots, not just ours, these are the next generation platform of hardware, and you need the hardware to create business models around them. So if you are the lucky one who trusted Apple 10 years ago into an iPhone, into an iPad, but you didn't even see what's coming in the 10 years, and now it's easy to go on software solutions, but you need the hardware. Without the hardware, there's just nothing real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there will be an app market for industrial automation, but first you need something like a smartphone for industrial automation.
There it is.
Saeed, from the US perspective to Europe. I mean, we're discussing a lot of strengths of European, and we're trying to get ahead in this hardware space. How do you see this? Are we onto something, or you say, well, you're not convinced by IoT era of Europe as an investor? Still not.
As you mentioned, Andreas, I think Germany has a unique position because you still have manufacturing here. You still can have robot automation locally. But we love to do more investments in IoT mobility. We are involved with Mercedes and Porsche, with startup Autobahn in Stuttgart, and we do more than 100 pilots with them per year. And we feel robotics and AI will change all manufacturing. Yeah. But how fast? Because I'm getting a little older, so I like to have my returns a little sooner. So I cannot wait 20 years for a return. But I love to be part of the entrepreneur's journey in robotics as well.
You see, you love to. You don't find enough opportunities, or?
We are doing more and more, especially with our activity in Tokyo and in China and in Germany with startup Autobahn. But quite frankly, it's something we have to learn. We have not had a Dropbox yet in the robotic industry.
Okay. And Patrick, one last question. We have 30 minutes to go. What is your vision on the future of robotics, say in 10 years' time? Where will robotics be, and what will they be able to do?
Now, that's a big question.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
18 seconds.
I think human-machine interaction, the augmentation of human capabilities, robots doing, as Saeed said, the heavy lifting, robots augmenting human judgment and intelligence, is key. We see the production workforce all over the world, in every country I visit, China, the US, Europe, Japan. The production workforce is aging, and by allowing the production workers to still be able to do tasks that require strength, that require better vision, and so on, that augmentation keeps them productive for longer.
Okay, so we're entering the age of the man-machine. Would you say so?
But it won't look like cyborgs.
No, no, we're not talking about the Borg.
No, not cyborgs, but AR, exoskeletons, so cobots, whatever you think. Yeah, well, great, I think. We've done it on time. Thanks to the great panel and the nice discussion.